Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on June 23rd, 2014, and, you know, for the most part there were a few down segments to the show, and I will get into that, but I thought for the most part it was a fairly entertaining show. And I'll go ahead and start with, well, what started off the show, the whole Stephanie McMahon, Vicky Guerrero segments from the get-go. I liked, and if no one had been figuring it out, Vicky's been kind of on her way out. Her contract was expiring and everything, and this was their way of writing her off of the show. And I thought they did a really good job in this case. They didn't just go with the simple "oh, you're fired" segment, get out, and she leaves kicking and screaming type deal. Then it's like, no, you have two choices. Either you're fired or you have a match. And of course she goes with a match. It's supposed to be with Stephanie McMahon. And I won't lie, I liked the promo between the two of them. Especially as soon as they started making mention to Eddie Guerrero in there. I thought, you pretty much knew at that point when the match came, she was coming out to Eddie's music. And of course, when that happened, me as an old Eddie Guerrero fan, I marked out for that portion of it. But also just that segment in general, obviously they made it leaving with the whole embarrassing situation with the whole pool of whatever that thing was, and that might have been a little overkill in there, but they didn't just like bury Vicky Guerrero in there. They let her get her. Like, she doesn't win the match, but she gets hers in the end. They let her go out on the high note after losing the match, which of course, tons of interference, all that fun stuff. But that was probably one of the high points of Raw. The promo was very good at the beginning of the show, and the subsequent, you knew she was going to lose the match, but were they just going to leave her in the embarrassing situation? And they decided to allow Vicky to embarrass Stephanie after getting thrown into the muck, whatever it was, afterwards. So I thought it came off pretty good. One down in the area that I feel that they haven't been going well with Raw is Paige's character, or therefore lack thereof character. Basically, ever since she came up, she hasn't really had her own kind of personality. She's just been going out there and having matches. It would be interesting to see if they would, like, you saw it on commentary, where she did not really have, it didn't feel like she had that much of a personality, where Cameron came off with looking like at least, trying to portray a heel-esque character at this point, which I believe they're going to be going with the split of her and Naomi here in the near future. But you just had that basic face character. It's like, oh, she respects everybody and everything in that sense, and it didn't really come off all that well. You got some decent banter between her and Cameron, but I don't feel like they've been doing a good job with Paige at this point. And it might just go to show how that she's not ready for coming up to the main roster at this time either. But other really good segments on the show. I really enjoyed the promo between Sheamus and Roman Reigns. I found that fairly entertaining, and it just came off well. Same with Cesaro and Alberto Del Rio. Just both of these areas where they're getting across the point that tonight we're on the same team, but on Sunday it's every person for themselves, and I felt that they did a really good job of that. And then of course them making the second Money in the Bank ladder match. I like how they initially left Dean Ambrose off, which made it seem like, oh, he's just being punished, or they didn't want to put him in the match or anything like that. But I liked the segment after the RVD Seth Rollins match, which again was a very fun match. And then of course Dean Ambrose gets himself in there and cuts a decent promo. It was like, doesn't care whether or not he's in the match or not, he's going to be at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I liked how that went. The subsequent Triple H and Seth Rollins segment, putting Dean Ambrose into the match, came off really well, making Seth seem like it doesn't matter whether or not Dean Ambrose is there. He wants him in there just to, rub it in his face when he wins. And I thought that was a very, very good segment. And then, of course, you have Jack Swagger, Kofi Kingston, Bad News Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, RVD in the second ladder match to go along with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. It should be a fun ladder match to begin with, and of course it does at least keep the whole contract the contract Money in the Bank concept in there for another year. It was going to be interesting to see if they were even going to do that with the whole ladder match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So it's good to see that they're going to be going with that route. The match between Dolph Ziggler and Bad News Barrett was it was just a great match in general. They gave him a lot of time, and they both put in a lot of hard work into this match, and it really showed throughout the entire match in general. So that was a great little match in there to watch, and that's one good thing about Raw recently. You're seeing some really good matches to go along with maybe some up and down in the terms of segments and story building, but you're at least seeing some really good matches as of late on the show itself. The storyline between the Usos and Harper and Rowan, I liked how they had two matches and each side won one. One thing I hope they do fix is, like, initially it didn't get it until it started becoming clear that their music is being played by like a harmonica and it's the whole world in his hands type music. I hope they clean that up or make the audio better or something, because that just came off really bad. Really, really bad. I really don't want them using that music all the time, or at least in that style. It really needs to be, the audio really needs to be cleaned up, or they need to do a better job of recording it. I don't know what it is. Hopefully they will fix that here in the near future for that. That's just a little nitpick there. I thought that was just really bad. Same with Seth Rollins' music. I think it's just placeholder before he gets new music, but it's not very good intro music for him coming down to the ring. Let's go for. I'm trying to think of where else I need to go here. No, I think that pretty much goes for everything when we up to the main event, which was the rematch of the 4 versus 3 handicap match from SmackDown. And honestly, it was a decent match. I didn't really like the ending of the match. I didn't really feel like they should have maybe not put the faces over, but they shouldn't have put the team with a fewer people over in this case, because I don't really think it helps much of anybody by doing that. It might hurt some of the others more than anything. But I think they wanted to kind of put Sheamus over initially for winning the match, and then that's where everything kind of went haywire. And this is what I really did not like about the show, or about the ending of the show, which was the Kane coming out. He comes out and starts attacking everybody, and then they announce him as the 8th person into the Money in the Bank ladder match, and then he gets speared. First of all, I think it's just a waste of putting him in the match here and now. Maybe they're just doing this just so they don't have to have him do a run-in for the match or something, but it feels like it's a waste of putting an 8th person into this title match. And it didn't really come off all that well, because he immediately gets taken out by Roman Reigns afterwards, which obviously they're pushing Roman Reigns to the moon and back, but it just did not come off all that well. And it is what it is, and obviously I guess they're trying to prevent having to do a run-in with Kane, so maybe somebody else will do a run-in during the match or something like that. But we'll see how that really pans out. The title match itself should be fun. All these people have worked, with the exception of probably Bray, I believe all these people have worked some kind of ladder match, so they'll have a clue of what to do going into the match itself. And like I said, it should be an interesting match. I just felt like it was a waste of putting Kane inside of the match in general. And for the most part, outside of that, there was two other segments on there, which I found quite surprising. Was that the Big E Rusev feud is still going on, and it seems like they were going to be having another match either at the pay-per-view or somewhere down the road. And these two have worked well together, and I think it should be another fairly entertaining match. I like where they're going with Rusev. At this point, they're putting massive heat on him, which I don't think it's real. It is kind of cheap heat, but it's getting a lot of heat placed onto this character, which also gets like bigger pops for the babyface that's going up against him at that point in time. So it should be good. It should be fun. These two worked that match last month. It was fairly entertaining, and it should be another fun, entertaining match. And I'll go ahead and say this one was really bad. It's official. Like last week I said, with the whole Stardust character, I wanted to see where they were going with this. End it now. Let Cody turn heel and just have the match with him and Goldust. And it did not come off well at all, their backstage segment. The only good portion of it was the funny line that Goldust put over in at the end of the promo, saying he's now the normal one. That was the only thing that came off any good at all in that promo. It was just bad in general. Let him beat Cody again, and let him turn heel, and let's finally have this match with him and Goldust. And maybe not just one match, but a whole feud between the two of them. And we'll see where they go with that. For the most part, though, like I said, I felt the show was pretty good. Had its low points, which I of course pointed out in there. And the Money in the Bank pay-per-view should be fun. At least some good matches, and you do have some good stories going in there. I like the whole aspect that they're putting over how Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family could walk out with the tag gold and the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the same night. I like how they're throwing that in there, and a few other things in there I'm really enjoying, and the matches themselves should be fun to watch. So yeah, that's my review this week for Monday Night Raw, and I thank you guys for watching.